Hello Kitty crossover the other day. I wanted the jersey. You went live, as I was saying. I want the Hello Kitty Mariners jersey. Great.
We are live on Sanrio Collector Hour on SideQuesting.com, your weekly journey into the world of Hello Kitty and all the kitties, especially the ones you can find at McDonald's.
Last time
and
I
some
went to
video games, I
Universal
guess.
Studios, I learned that they have tripled down on Hello Kitty. So if you want Universal properties matched up with Sanrio characters, Universal Studios Hollywood is the way to go.
I have a Fast and the Furious Sanrio character pin. I would also like to ask, if Dali is unaware, hey, any idea what species cinnamon roll is? Just take a guess.
No.
Do you even know which one cinnamon roll is?
No, I do not. It's a echidna. I don't know.
It's a dog.
What is it?
Anyway, well, welcome to
It's
this.
a dog.
Okay, Dally. What species is Hello Kitty?
She's a girl.
She's a normal human girl. Absolutely nothing cat-like about her at all, according to the CEO.
According to the CEO. That's one little bit of trivia that I know. She's an absolutely
horrifying
girl. Yeah, because there are cats in. Anywho, hey, we're gonna talk games and all the fun stuff. How you guys doing? Doing good?
Hello Kitty. There's a rhythm game that's like $2 on the Switch. It's great. No, I'm just.
Actually, I bought that. I did buy that.
Me too.
Kind of good. It's kind of really good. And then there's the other Hello Kitty game that's coming out, I think, at the beginning of the year in January, which is the iOS game that they're
there's
like Animal Crossing
Hello
style.
Kitty.
The one that was like they created the name on a South Park episode like 10 years ago, and now it's a real game title.
Well. And they had the freaking and they had the Hello Kitty card things that you could input into Animal Crossing. Like, let's just make our own Animal Crossing game with Hello Kitty.
Hey, the Sanrio gang
which are in abundance at Target.
Video games.
Yeah. They fool around and they find out. I'm Dolly Domofsky, the train conductor. Joining me over here is I got a point. Come on, JJ Holder, the Astro Man. And this kitty cat, speaking of Hello Kitty cat, Sam Dixon.
Welcome to minute 2.5 of the show where we finally did intros.
Please rate and review us on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and iTunes, sidequesting.com, SideQuesting TV. Again, whenever Stefan watches this or whoever else, please like this video. Trust me, that stuff helps, man. I'm not kidding.
Dear Stefan and all of Johnny's friends, please hit the thumbs up button.
Please hit the
friends
thumbs
and
up
neighbors
button.
of Johnny. Please.
I guess sometimes if you do the thumbs up, like you'll get a little thumbs up thing.
It
pop
seems
up,
to be exclusive to mobile because Johnny's the only
if you're on
one
the phone,
that can have. Because he did that, and he did like the rock on thing, and it created like a laser show behind him.
Unreal,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Johnny has
I think it was using Godot, not Unreal, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And boy, are my arms tired. Let's get into some of the video game news. The first one I want to start off with is a pretty fun one. And I mentioned in the pre-show to the fam here that it was kind of JJ related, only because I absolutely know JJ will be getting this. And if I can freaking hit this button,
I know
that is it's the PlayStation 30th anniversary. Dope. Dope. Let's watch this video here. Continue.
I was saying, thankfully, they announced this thing as every bit of it is going to be available separately.
Yeah.
Very excited by that. Thank you, Sony.
So you got the PS5 Pro, which the guy has over here. Come on, slide it over. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. That's the regular PS5, the all-digital version.
Yeah.
Which all the PlayStations are now, all digital. By the way, you'd sell a lot more if you kept that shade of gray, man. That is pretty dope.
It's a good color, man.
It's a good color. I don't know why Sony keeps abandoning it.
Sony has decided that, hey, you know what? We used to have color on our logos.
Yeah. We used to have fun. Remember Nintendo went gray with their logo and it backfired horribly. So they went back to the red logo. So it's a pretty dope looking. I like that gray, the shiny. Like
I like the center island or whatever.
Look at that.
I didn't see that before. That's neat.
It's a neat little detail.
Yeah.
And you got, ooh, that's a nice detail. I like the LD 30.
Yeah,
It's
it's
funny
good.
because I have a PS5.
Yeah.
I have a PS5.
I
But
can assure you,
But
I will not be getting the system, but I will be getting a controller.
which is what he's showing right now, because that's what I will end up getting. Because look at that
Yeah.
beautiful controller.
I might get
Almost got the Astro Bot controller. I'm glad I waited for this one.
Well, it's like, because they did this exact same controller for the PS4 for
Yes.
the 20th anniversary or whatever.
25th anniversary. Yeah.
So,
And that is just a nice looking controller. Like, beautiful. They got the texture on it. That's also awesome. They're like, just have more fun like this, guys. It's okay to enjoy showcasing your heritage. I mean, Astro Bot does it.
I love this.
This
is my favorite part.
Yeah.
The USB-C cable that looks like a memory card. That's brilliant.
Yeah. But also the ties, the little plastic ties are the triangle, circle, square, cross, not X.
Cross. Yeah.
Just some great details on this sucker.
Yeah,
look at that. Did a real good, nice job on this thing. Then they got this guy. Maybe they'll actually sell. Yeah.
This is insane. This is actual insanity.
It actually, this actually looks good. Surprisingly,
I was going to say, this is a guaranteed way to move units. Like, that's what it is people will buy this just because they want the full, like, 30th collection.
Yes. This actually, but it actually looks better than the all white one they have, which is just, although it still looks like you're going to break it.
Yeah.
And then you got
we need to rally Corey at some point and ask him how his is doing, because he's the only one of us that got one.
Yeah. Yeah. And this thing looks pretty great. I mean, it having those lines in there very much mimics the PS2.
Yeah.
And so going with the gray of the PS, I mean, it's actually really nice. It's a nice design for a change. The white, I do not like that white PlayStation 5 in the Pro. I mean, but the gray, matte gray color is pretty dope, man. Like this actually looks, those rounded edges are nice.
Yeah. This definitely looks more like what you would think a PlayStation 5 would have looked like in 1997. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this whole thing is cool, and they even got like that special controller, right?
I've got the DualSense Edge normal controller. It's a nice. I really like the controller.
Yeah.
I might just sell mine and get this instead, because it's a good controller. It's a comfy controller, and it's got the trigger locks and everything. It's a nice, and I like it's the case. The case is what,
So all of this goes on pre-order, I think September 26th or 27th. So next week, right into Tokyo Game Show time.
Right when Nintendo announces the Switch 2.
Oh, you want to talk Switch 2? Let's talk Switch 2, because that is the next story on our list here. I'm gonna go to come on, let's go. Reddit. It started with Reddit, and then it kind of went everywhere. Reddit, damn near. Switch 2, supposedly alleged images of Nintendo has since been debunked.
Yeah, they've been.
But you guys can see this, right? Let me click here. I don't know. Will this switch over? It does not switch over. Let me switch it to the other screen here, so you guys so y'all can see Andy Rod. Okay, you can see now. Yeah. Okay. What people thought this was the hey, look, it's the product images, guys. Check it out, real cool. I mean, even Wario64 tweeted this out, but no, it ended up just being some enthusiast, like 3D CAD junkie, who took like whatever the supposed leak specs are and applied it to existing.
Everything that's here is something we've heard at some point.
Yeah.
Like
3D printed the cases. Like I don't think Nintendo would make these big gaping holes like this. Like the current Switch is actually kind of elegant in how it's metallic and the metal parts
the way that they hide the like the connectivity stuff in the Joy-Cons.
Yes.
When you slide that, because it's all hidden behind.
It's all hidden. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those arrows that point down, just hiding like the conductive connection and stuff. So it's gonna be the
supposedly the release on the back. Now, magnetic potentially. You still got to slide. You still got to slide these suckers in, or if you pop them in there, they're still going to have to be a pretty consistent snap. So maybe it's not a slide system. Maybe it's more of a goes in from the side. Maybe that's what they're thinking with these renders.
But we're also in an era of MagSafe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
but MagSafe is meant to pop off when you bump it, right? And the last thing I want is my Switch screen dropping when when I shake it too hard from playing whatever Star Fox game is going to come out. Then you got supposedly this is the insides of the Switch prototype. Obviously 3D printed.
Just a normal hard drive bay.
Yeah, and 3D printed paint. They did do a nice little paint job. You kind of see the paint in a couple of these areas, but it certainly looks 3D printed.
Yeah, just
from
a board
lot
weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Now, granted, you could take your current Switch and drop it in an enclosure like this, and it could be kind of interesting. Yeah, nice big slot for the games there. But yeah, I mean,
that's the next photo that you showed. That is literally just you barely altered the Switch Lite, right?
Exactly. It's like a combo of the Switch Lite and the OLED, except they threw in a USB-C port on top.
And there's still a USB-C port on the bottom. Too.
On the bottom, So there's the bottom view right there. The same speakers as the last time.
Yeah.
Like barely a difference from the current Switch OLED.
This is definitely just like a modified. Like they took the Switch Lite and just sort of made Joy-Cons for it, essentially.
Yep. Exactly. And then this is like, hey, check out this. People are figuring out, look at the size of the screen. It's massive. I mean, it's still like hardly noticeable, I guess. But I mean, if this is the original, the OG Switch. So yeah, it was obviously a smaller screen, and this is the OLED size. Yeah. So it is, of course, going to be different. But yeah, here's another close up of those there. So it is what it is. The interesting part wasn't necessarily that, because it's been sort of debunked. But the let's see, let me go back to Reddit where the story kind of came from. The quote unquote shipping list detail summary. So console is the HGU 1100. You got the Joy-Cons, you got the dock. And the interesting stuff is the system on the chip, memory model, which is supposedly, they said, was it 12 gigabytes of RAM in this sucker? Somewhere in here. Built-in microphone. Obviously the NFC reader, dual cooling fans, blah blah blah. Yeah. But it's all the stuff that we had heard, just sort of compressed onto one list.
Very interesting. Like there's really no way that this version, like this it's just going to be the Switch 2. I mean, it's Nintendo hasn't been this iterative in a while,
right?
Like the NES to the SNES was kind of the last time they were really like, this is the next generation, and it's basically the same thing.
Well, I think the reason you haven't seen them is the Wii and the Wii U was such a monumental failure of not a product, but of a release and an understanding of the infrastructure.
Yeah,
where the Switch 2 or the new Switch, which I hope they don't pull, because they did that with the 3DS line.
They cannot have the word Switch in the name.
Well, I think Switch 2 is enough to be like, and this is the sequel, especially since
that's the thing.
PlayStation
it has to be
up
as
to 5 now.
Yeah, it has to be as boring as the Switch 2, because if you call it Switch, funny word, or Super Switch,
or Switch Up, or something like that, it's not
Switch
Attach.
It
becomes the Wii U situation. It becomes that's the Wii U situation where it's like, well, is it the Wii? It's like, no. I mean, yes, but no. Yes. Yes, it uses the same controllers. Yes, you can play the same games in it.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, even something like the Super Switch or something like that still kind of feels like it's just an upgraded Switch and not another generation.
It's the PS5 Pro to the
right. Which, I mean, I could be okay with like the PS5 for like a Super Switch sort of calling it the Super Nintendo was in effect, it was a wholly new console, but they kind of called it a souped up version of
the difference. The difference. There's such a difference between how games are marketed then and now, because back then games were marketed.
What's up, Johnny's friends? Switch 2, now more Switch.
Games were marketed on such a sort of upfront in your face level. Like you would go to the store, the stores would make it abundantly clear that this is the new video game system, these are the new games. The TV commercials were all there. It's like games were nowadays gaming. It just, a lot of the ads are just website, like most of the advertising for a lot of video games and consoles these days are just IGN, like, or GameSpot. GameStop is a dying French company, so you don't have the, so like you have to make the signaling super loud, which you are seeing that problem with the Xbox in a lot of ways. Like a lot of people don't understand the Xbox branding because they're not super loud about it, and there's no real easy way to parse that out if you're just a guy. We are so removed from reality, all of us here, because of how in the weeds we are with this stuff, that it's always really weird when you talk to somebody that like straight up just doesn't understand that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is like what that is.
According to the story on Reddit, so the source from Fama Boards is basically saying the original poster said they obtained a shell model from an accessory manufacturer at great cost and reverse engineered it to create their CAD model. So it's essentially based off of an accessory. So somebody who's making like
it's theoretically based off of the screen, the
screen
silicon
protector,
the silicon grips that you slide over controllers and screen protectors, and just sort of it's how a lot of this stuff ends up existing, coming out. So who cares?
Yep. So we'll see.
I think I've seen more enthusiast designed Nintendo systems in my life than like actual Nintendo prototypes. Like
I love the maybe I'll do a post about the great because the original Switch had so many fakes, like that mirror controller, the all-screen controller. They had,
the Revolution, man. Remember
the Revolution,
how many things we saw?
The Star Cube. Remember before it was the GameCube, there was a Star Cube supposed to leak out there. But it's interesting. I should do a post of all these stupid.
It used to be. If you go back through old magazines, you can see they would even share these like concepts that were like completely unrealistic. Like it's always the non industrial designers designing things.
So I'm just gonna say right now, Exadramoose, it's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, this is totally not a Class A surface. For those of us who know about design, I mean, there's no radial blends. They don't have, a lot of sharp edges. There's no homologation that they're putting in this thing. I mean, even the levels of detail around the screws are not correct. And so, definitely no Class A surfacing done on this bad boy. But, I mean, so I want to ask you guys a question. Whether these are fake or real, we don't know. When do you think the Switch 2 is going to get announced or get revealed or teased, knowing that TGS is sort of the tail end of next week?
Middle of next month.
You think middle of October? Okay.
Yeah, I think if you don't see it before TGS, you'll probably see it like in October, or at least. If you remember when the Switch was originally like going to launch, everybody was doing that weird thing where they're like, yeah, it's coming out on these platforms and whatever Nintendo's doing. And it was like I think, was it the NSX? Is that what they were calling it? Like the
NX,
car? The NX. That's what it was.
Like the car, The Acura.
Acura. Everybody was referring to it as like Nintendo NX, like next gen or whatever.
Because Nintendo was
and like I think
that,
if we go into TGS without this thing being announced, you're probably going to see at least one studio go, I mean, come on, it's coming to whatever Nintendo
has happened.
We just got an email.
Well,
we just got the email.
The port or whatever, the Sandrock.
Tales of Sand. Yeah, My Time at Porsche, My Time at Sandrock. Their next game is for future Nintendo platform.
Yeah,
and that's all they left it at.
Yeah.
Like that's
we're there. Like
we're there.
Like they won't show footage and specifically earmark it as like this is the Nintendo build or whatever. But like you're gonna get those announcements, and then like the real stuff that people want to know about Nintendo anyway is what is the Nintendo games launching with the thing. You know, what can I Nintendo better that I'm Nintendoing right now, and what does Nintendo have for me? And is it Zelda, Mario, Splatoon, like any of their titles?
I still think we're getting that Metroid Prime 4 as like a double, like
cross gen.
Cross gen.
Yeah,
we're getting the old Breath of the Wild treatment.
We're getting the old Breath of the Wild Twilight Princess situation, but with Metroid.
yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely going to happen.
Because I think what was it? No, because they did the tease for we will be announcing the NX like in the middle of October. In like 2015. So I think,
and they showed it. They showed in 2016.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2016. So I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. They did the official tease in October of 2016, where they showed that video, and they said find out more in early next year or something in January. Like they gave the date. Yeah.
Because I remember setting up for a basketball game or something and being like, "Holy shit!"
Everybody relax. Yeah, it was. I'll show you right now. The famous Mario.
That creepy Mario, like, hey kids.
Let me.
There's candy back here, kids. Mario.
Let me share.
That's we're just hanging out playing Switch on the cool roof party we're at, right? That's that video you're talking about.
That was the video.
That's the video, but this was the we're about to announce it.
Yes.
Yeah, there it's Mario looking at when you're getting your snips. When you're getting your vasectomy, he's poking on. He's like, "Look at that size of that boner." But that's that was October 19th of 2016 is when this happened. So
my parents' wedding anniversary.
Was it? Congratulations! Something you will never ever forget. Now,
no.
You were conceived on Nintendo Switch birthday. No, it's I think. I don't think they want to take away from sales of Zelda. Which is coming out. That's coming out next week. Coming out on Thursday. So to announce the Switch 2, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, hold on a second. You got a game coming out. You got Mario Party. You got other. Why would you do that?" So I think they're gonna get Zelda out of the way, and then.
They don't give a shit about Mario Party.
Yeah. That's what I think. And Mario
shit on Mario Party's parade. They don't.
So that's what I think. The week after, I think, right after, the week after game show, that first week of October is when we'll likely see a tease like this.
Yeah, where you'll get a internal name of some sort, like Nintendo is going to read the next iteration, Switch next gen or whatever.
The success. They're calling it the successor to the Nintendo.
It's so
Switch.
funny that we don't have a name for this thing. Like, not even like an internal name. Like we've had internal names for like everything. Like the Ultra 64, which it ended up coming out as in certain regions, and like the Dolphin, the Revolution, the like all that.
Yeah,
shit.
we've all those cool names.
Yeah. NX,
Project Reality.
Project Reality. Floor Vision.
But yeah, so Cafe was the Wii U, right?
I think Cafe was the Wii U. Would have been a better name. They should have
been a better name,
Nintendo Cafe.
For real.
The one wild card in all of this is always going to be Nintendo, because they also are the company that just on a random like Thursday afternoon was like, "Oh, by the way, Labo's a thing we're doing. Enjoy." Or like they just like choose the wildest times to drop stuff. So
this was 8:30 p.m.
Yeah,
I could 8:30 p.m. to drop this.
I could see them being like 15 minutes before like the show floor opens for TGS, being like, "Here's our little teaser. We'll talk more Nintendo later this year, but like enjoy TGS or something." Like, I could see
maybe that's what we get. Maybe that's what we get. Yeah, you may hear next week. You'll likely hear Nintendo's next platform, type of stuff from some developers. Yeah.
They should just call the system the Nintendo.
I mean, that would kick butt.
What if they've been hinting at it the whole time because they've always been referring to the successor of the Switch? What if it's successor Switch?
Yes, successor Switch.
Switch
Emphasis
Succession
on that.
starring.
Successor. One last little bit of news. Speaking of Nintendo, we got some awesome Nintendo news, and that is
Dragon Battletoads coming to Switch Online.
Even better. Nintendo and Pokemon are suing the developers of PALWORLD for
patent infringement.
Patent infringement. So it's not trademark infringement.
Yeah.
Which means it's not like copying Pikachu. It's actual patent infringement, which isn't quite clear what that means.
Totillo had some theories going on his Twitter feed about, because it was shared with him, like Nintendo and Pokemon Company hold the patent for the mechanic of throwing a ball at a monster and capturing it.
Yes.
But that's only in America. Unclear if that patent holds in Japan. So it's kind of unclear what Nintendo is going at for them. Nintendo's been at them, been looking over things since January. So I mean,
when they were made aware by fans, basically a bunch of Nintendo nerds, and I'm not kidding you. I think that was what happened. We've been made aware by fans or whatever they said. To take a look at this. So fine, we'll take a look at this.
Like, this game is so like, it's just the aesthetics that are Pokemon. Like, I literally like, okay, you capture a monster with a ball, and all of the Pokemon, like that Pokemon that you see, like you've got that one that's Anubis or Black Lucario. Like that's all that is. Like
it's interesting. Like as you mentioned, they're going for patent infringement. So like once and even I can't think of their name, Pocket Pair like released a statement saying they're unaware of what patents they're currently being sued for,
right?
Or what they're currently infringing upon for the being sued.
Nintendo historically does not have good luck with patent lawsuits. Like
no, Nintendo has fantastic luck. They go after everybody. Right?
Yeah,
they go after, but nothing ever. They always get shot. Like
they're the ones that get.
They're the ones that always get hit with patent lawsuits.
That's
because they're always
they always win
somebody else's thing.
Well, but they constantly go after like the hackers that made that giant leak of them. They also went after a bunch of like ROM sites and stuff like that. Like I don't think they're the type of company that brings litigation unless they're pretty certain about it.
IP stuff, they rule with an iron fist. The patent stuff is just weird. They usually don't go after patent stuff because they're usually the ones stealing the patents. So
is it maybe just though get them on some like maybe technicality with a patent to reveal other information?
It's like mobsters going it's like mobsters going to prison for tax evasion. It's like it's I don't know. I don't care.
I'm at the point where I kind of
PALWORLD's time is come and gone, and here we are. It just kick them while they're down.
At Gamescom, did they not just talk about like the next like major expansion to it and stuff like that? Like that game is like I don't know. Can somebody check whatever that website is to see what Steam's like active player base is on it right now? Like I don't know how big of a community PALWORLD is, but
I'm not sure. Let's check.
In the same regard, like it is like a big enough entity that Nintendo still, what are we 9 months later from its release, or now like going after it?
Well, it's not in the top 20. Let's check here. PALWORLD is current, has 13,488. 24-hour peak is 26,000. So 13,000 puts it at, let's see here, number 72, behind Civ 5 and just ahead of Gary's Mod. So,
hey, that's not a bad collection to be associated with. So,
Final Fantasy 16 has 16,000 people playing it. So good for Final
Fantasy. It just
like
came out today, didn't it? Or something like.
The number one game, by the way, right now, Counter-Strike 2, and number 2 game, Banana.
God,
Banana.
Fucking
it's
grift.
Called Banana.
It's
literally
NFT bullshit.
Yeah.
Click a banana, get a banana NFT. It's a whole it's all a big money grab. Sell your banana on the Steam marketplace.
Yeah.
There's no game. It's not even like a clicker game. It's just bullshit. It's a grift.
Speaking of games, we've been playing some games, and we got 3 games we're going to talk about. First, I'll just say I've been swamped at the office and haven't been able to play much. I will open a Pokemon card pack though when we're at the end.
Which you get the which one you get? You get the new ones?
No, I have those over here. No, this is still the Shrouded Fable.
I just cracked a few. I forget what the new one's called. Crown of something.
Stellar Crown.
Stellar Crown or whatever. Yeah.
Clowns.
Stellar Clowns, more like it.
You know what? I'll open one of those too. Then maybe I'll open that.
I think the best card I got out of my rip was
Rip.
Full art Milcery.
But we have some games. Yeah, so I haven't really been having a chance to play much. I'm reviewing stuff that I can't talk about. So I do want to start with Sam. You have been playing a fantastic little game, or I can't say fantastic because I don't know what I haven't played it. But you have been playing a game.
Jumping the gun. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been playing a game called Caravan Sand Witch.
Yes, Sand Witch, not sandwich like a sandwich, but a sand witch. But yes, Caravan Sandwich, a lovely little game about coming home while also trying to find your sister who's been missing for a good amount of time, but her ship that she went missing with has suddenly sent a distress signal. So you're now coming back to your home planet to find out either what happened to her or if she's still alive. So yeah, that's pretty much the setting. And it's a basically narrative-driven action platformer. You're doing a lot of like parkour climbing and sort of like simplistic puzzle solving. And then also what drew me to the game originally, as we're seeing right there, is some vehicle-based nonsense. Both puzzling and driving and stuff like that. And it's really, the story is about basically the community that, you grew up with, and some of the new members of that community and some of the members that have left that community because it's on a sort of not a dying planet, but a planet that really, I guess, has served its purpose or has, no real resources or value left to the greater community at large. So the people that originally were there are there no longer. So it's a lot of going around and kind of figuring out sort of the story of that community and also the story of basically that person sort of refinding themselves within that community. And it's a lot of fetch quests, unfortunately. And that I think is pretty much its weakest like aspect. Like it's very stylized. It has like a good sort of sense of its like overall world. It's not so much of an open world. It is, but it's more like, I guess, more of like a guided path than what you would traditionally think an open world is. And you are locked down of certain things depending on what sort of gear and stuff you have. And it's really sort of that misbalance that kind of really like slows the pace of it. So like you're basically like gated by getting different components to upgrade different mechanics, whether it be your vehicle or accessories that you sort of use. And a lot of that is locked in through exploration and then also completing quests. And those quests give you like sets amount of resources, but it's not like, I guess they just don't feel rewarding because you're not getting sort of like a real true estimate on how you're building to your next upgrade. Because it sort of relies on you also finding things as you're exploring. So you could spend like, maybe like an hour or two exploring an area before you're even like sent on the fetch quests to go there. So then when you go back to do those fetch quests, then there's not a lot of that sort of the collectibles you need to get that car upgraded or that next personal upgrade to get you to the next area. So I think it's got some weird pacing with that. So if this story like really isn't clicking with you, like with the like community and like that sort of vibe. Like I don't think there's really a lot driving you towards like, you know, experiencing it all. Which is really a shame, because I think it does have a lot of good ideas with sort of how like the car is kind of like a little bit of a physics mess, but it's like kind of enjoyable to drive around. Obviously, in the trailer here, they're driving it like pretty like calm and collective. And I, you know, it just feels like a lot of like, you know, that like maybe that next sort of like couple pieces you need are like locked right behind that thing, but you don't have the pieces yet to unlock the bit that will get you behind that thing. So it is good. It runs on Steam Deck. I feel like you have to mention that about every PC game that comes out now. And
that was my number one question I asked everybody that I saw at PAX. I was asking every game. A lot of people were like showing Steam Deck versions too. It really is just like important now.
Yeah, and they've already released. I think let me check when it came out. I think it came out on the 16th. And they've already done like a quality of life sort of pass on some things they found since then. And it really seems like they're going to be like listening to the community and trying to shape this game a little bit, like post-release. So, you know, I think it's a cheaper-ish game. It's only $25 as opposed to a full title. You know, it seems like from the estimates I've seen everybody say it's about 10 hours ish. So there's some doing there. There's some stuff to experience. And there's definitely a lot of like different characters in that community. There's like a frog family that's very interesting, and you're sent like kind of to recover some of the younger members that have disappeared. And then also one of them is like super into photography. So anytime there's an event like going on in the community, like he's all about like making sure that he's capturing all the moments and stuff, so everybody can remember him. So it's very cute and charming. But it is basically, if you're interested in checking out that story and pursuing it, I think is the direction you have to look at it more of than looking at it as like, you know, this is a, you know, I say action platformer, but it's really more of just a parkour game. So yeah, play it on Steam Deck if you're gonna play it. I recommend it there. That's where I played.
It works.
Yes, it's very enjoyable.
Cool. Yeah, I love the aesthetic of this thing. It looks really neat. JJ, you have you've been playing Astro Bot. Before we get to Astro Bot,
have I?
Let's talk about the game you've been playing called BZZZT.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's a digital only game, because nobody's gonna go in a store and ask for yeah, listen, this is a short and sweet review for this.
You're playing it on Switch, correct?
I'm playing it on Switch.
Okay.
It's the art style is genuinely gorgeous. It's got a great soundtrack. This is what I kind of consider like there's that, I don't know what you call these types of games. I would just call them Meat Boy likes.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of thing where it's just like, oh, this is a brutal platforming game. There are obviously some shooter shits going on in there, but it's really just like you get through the stage safely and you're good. And it has collectibles hidden, and like not hidden, you see those screws, like you're collecting those screws as you go to there. There's a set number of those and a set timer. Like you can just casually go your way through it, although it's not really conducive. The play style isn't conducive to that. It's like if you just stand still, you're gonna die. It really just wants you to keep moving. And you will die and you will restart. You got all your typical, you got your double jumps, you got your air dashes, you got all that stuff. So yeah, you beat the level, you just beat the level and move on. Yeah, then you get like medals for collecting all the bolts and then collecting all of the or beating it in a certain amount of time. I don't know what, it's good.
I mean, it's been on PC, right?
Yeah, it's been on PC, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard about it before this. For getting the code. I like it a lot. I think this is one of those perfect Switch games where it's just like just sit down at night and blast through a handful of these platforming stages. And one thing I'll say it should get more credit for is that I really respect a game that makes the hit boxes on the collectibles a little big. Nice. So like you don't have to be right on top of it. Like if you're just in the general vicinity, chances are you're gonna get it. It doesn't. It's not really mean about the hitbox for those bolts, which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll say that I like the soundtrack in this. You can't hear it in this trailer, but this soundtrack is
I was going to say a lot of these like
good.
A lot of these time trial sort of games like always like live or die by their art style, and like if the songs are like super catchy or like super in like what the like aesthetic and style is,
it's like it's like a weird techno lo-fi soundtrack. It's kind of cool. There's even lyrics in some of the songs too. So
because I think anybody that's like into those styles of games know that unless you're like super good, you're never going to be in the top 100 of any of those leaderboards. So it's always like, does like the game resonate? Because it's you can hit A or whatever button it is to jump and run in a direction in just about any game, but what is the driving force moving you? And if it's music or hey, I saw a 2D wall run animation in there, I'm on board with that. Like that looks cool.
And I like the game's aesthetic. It's like like it's not it's pixel graphics, but it's not trying to be like look like an SNES game or anything. It's everything's very well animated and very well defined. Like nothing like blends into the background or anything. It's much more pixel art cartoon than anything, and it's a really good aesthetic and it's really good animations. So that's like it's short and sweet for this one, but cool. I think it's a valuable addition to any sort of like, especially the Switch. I feel like this is the game that was like, this is what the Switch lives by, this kind of thing.
Like, and we're getting towards the end of the Switch's lifespan, so these kinds of games are actually really good to have on to keep you coming back to this device.
Yeah,
because a lot of people now are going to be relegating their Switch to, I'll keep it in the car. I'll just throw it in my backpack.
It's in my backpack all the time. Yeah.
And I probably won't be playing it as much at home.
This thing hasn't been sitting in the dock in a year and a half.
Wow. Right? There hasn't been really, since Tears of the Kingdom, there hasn't been a ton of massive games. So, I'm guessing that it's going to be, games like this are great to have on it because you could just kind of.
That's why
it's on the Switch right now. I could play this for about 15.
That's why minutes. Nintendo consoles end with Mario parties.
PlayStation consoles, I don't know what they end with. They just end with remasters.
It's kind of peter out. The last game is always is some iteration of like an EA
whatever
game.
Insomniac most recent release was, or Naughty Dog, not Insomniac.
It's always a Naughty Dog game.
It starts with Insomniac, ends with Naughty Dog.
Exactly.
And you can find all of those games and characters in Astro Bot.
That's actually completely true.
There's
characters in here that are so obscure that like it's like this is for like cool.
All
include Jersey Devil.
You bought this game.
Fuck it.
I haven't bought it yet. Somebody please buy it for me. If somebody who is ever watching, please donate to the World of Dolly.
So I need to know, JJ, did you like collect all of the robots?
I am almost there. I'm only like 10 or so away from the full set, so
I very sadly spent the weekend finishing the game. I did not platinum it because I think that's stupid, but I did collect all the robots and the puzzle pieces.
So I like Stefan. Stefan's one of our longest running viewers since we started going live. Stefan's great explanation for this game. He said, "Man, I 100% of this. I platinumed it. I found all the characters. I did every single thing. I spent hundreds of hours in this game. 5 out of 10."
It wasn't this. It was that the 5 out of 10 was the Squire.
Squire.
Plucky Squire. Yeah. No.
Just kidding.
My big thing with this is, as somebody who like plays like through all of the Mario games and tries to get like 100% on them. If I had to choose between this and Super Mario Wonder, for somebody that has no connection to either, I would tell them to play this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think even in terms of like not like just simple gameplay aspects, I don't think, my same complaint with Super Mario Wonder, I think there's not enough challenging levels in this. Especially there's like a secret zone or whatever. And I feel like a lot of those secret zone levels, which could be potentially harder, like are kind of not that difficult. But I think even if you're not a PlayStation kid growing up or anything like that, there's enough like nostalgia in here that's like just kind of like if you've just been a gamer this whole time, like, and not done PlayStation, or like not even a gamer, just somebody who's been, next to some people that gamed or like had a couple friends, like, I mean, just wild, some of the characters that they reference and then give dedicated whole levels to. Insane.
So this game is like, it's what if Super Mario World was made into Super Mario Galaxy 2. It follows a lot of the same. It has so many similarities to Super Mario World in a weird way, like everything from like secret exits. Like some stages have a second exit that takes you to another part of the map, or like what would be the Star World in Super Mario World. Like there's like a version of that, like a void world in here and stuff, and with a little bit of Pikmin thrown in for flavor. It's very funny. I don't know. I'm a person that thinks that 3D platformers never really found their place in a weird way. Like Super Mario 64 is such an important video game for like the future, and I still think it's probably one of the best 3D platformers if you can get around the camera issues in 2024. If you can just respect the idea that we didn't really know what was going on. I think up until very recently, the best 3D platformer was Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like, that game was streamlined, kind of cut all the garbage out of the original Super Mario Galaxy, and all the levels were really well made, with the best levels from Galaxy returning and then remaking some other levels and stuff. Like, it's a really, really solid platformer. But this is easily top 3 3D platformer of all time. It's well crafted. It speaks to the player in a really good way to teach it how to play the game without ever saying a word.
Dope.
The power-ups are all really good. Well, not all. I hated that sponge power-up. But like this shrinking growing level, the metal ball ones are always really cool. It's got good boss fights, but everything's really, it's not a hard game by any stretch of the imagination. I found the shape levels to be kind of just frustrating more than hard. Because they are difficult, but it's just because they're bullshit. And it's like, if you die at the end, there's no checkpoint. You start over from the very beginning. They're short, but it is designed to punish you to learn. So it wants you to speed run the level. It wants you to not stop. It just wants you to power through these particular stages in constant locomotion to the end. And it wants to train you on how to do that.
You know what? Visually, there's an element of this, and it was sort of the same way in the kind of the launch PS5 game, but there's an element of this that actually reminds me of that Mario 128 technical trailer.
No, this game
that you're collecting Marios and like the Pikmin aspect. But
this game definitely is. It's not focused on fidelity. It's focused on how much bullshit can we shove on the screen at once. One of the earliest levels is just filled with sprinkles. Each one individual sprinkle with its own physics. each one, it's just constant, like constant snow effect, constant like apples and walnuts and little bits and bobs of shit all over the place. It's really showing you, and those like not an ounce of like slowdown anywhere. I had no technical issues with this game at any point.
It ran flawlessly. Like it honestly does just feel like they like, you know, saying that like the original one was like well, not the original one, but the one that's part of the experience for the PS5.
Yeah, the PS5. Yeah, the player.
Like that, like, you know, saying that that's a tech demo feels like, you know, like a bad statement to make about that game, because it feels like so good and so like clean. And then this just kind of like that just kind of feels like what would be the trailer or the demo for like what this was. And they like put this together, and it just feels like you know, this is just another marketing tool that we're making for the PS5 or for PlayStation as a brand. And it just, you know, it just runs as if it was like born to be on this thing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like this is a marketing game, but the team behind it is just like that doesn't see it that way. So it's like it's cool that not everything in here is like a PlayStation game. And it's like you associate, because like Ken and Ryu are in this as Astro Bots. Like those aren't PlayStation characters. I've never thought of Ken and Ryu as Street Fighter as being a PlayStation franchise in any way, shape, or form. But like, you know, but everyone that's in here, like, you know, Kiryu from Yakuza is in this and stuff, and like it's, but like everyone has their place in the PlayStation lore, so it's kind of neat.
So
and
awesome.
My only hang up with the characters is because you're right, there is a bunch of characters that are like, let's say, are generally associated with PlayStation. So
Crash Bandicoot hasn't been a PlayStation exclusive for like 20 years. But
but with that, I feel like and maybe this is just me, but there's, unless I missed it, there's no Square Enix representation.
I don't think.
And like to me, at least, I had always assumed stuff like, you know, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts
would be
all of that is like Sony based stuff, but like I not a pip of it. And you know, they don't ever directly name any of these characters, right? Even though, like, you know, the PlayStation home brand characters get like some other silly pun name or whatever. Obviously, you would hope that they went and talked to all these developers to get like their things. And my question is, you know, and maybe we'll figure it out. I know there's been some suggestions that there's DLC with other characters and levels and stuff coming, but like,
because I remember the Buster Sword being in Playroom.
Did they go like, hey, we'd love to have Cloud in here, and they were like, no thank you. Like that just seems weird from both brands, but I so to me that felt like an obvious exclusion, but then at the same time I couldn't tell you a single one other than like a late like secret level character that I you know, I don't want to mention that feels like out of place. And even that one just feels out of place because I feel like their original game was not on a PlayStation system. So I mean, overall, it's so great. You get like the same sort of like gumball gacha machine.
So the gacha is really interesting in this because the gacha exists to give animations to the characters that you've collected. So you have, or also to get like skin stuff for you and your ship. But the real goal of it is you go to this like hub world where you collect all your characters. And then when you go to the gacha, you use the coins that you've been collecting to get the gacha, that stuff that was in Playroom. And it gives an animation. It gives like an item to one of the characters you've collected. So out in the world, if like in in that hub world, when you come across them, they've got that item, and if you slap them, they go into a little funny animation sequence. It's really weird and really charming. I love it.
It's awesome. Awesome. I'm excited. I'm gonna pick it up eventually.
I think that the one thing I'm trying to think of the best way to talk about this without spoiling a single thing, but the levels that come out after you beat the bosses are all really neat. It's definitely leans harder into the PlayStation stuff.
Sweet.
They're the only levels that are actually PlayStation levels. Everything is a super generic level, but there's some cool stuff that goes on in some of these.
Dope. Okay. Well, with that,
you gotta open your Pokemon, and I gotta drink my Oreo Coke Zero.
Why don't you go with the Coke first? You go with the Coke first.
Yeah. What are we chasing in these card packs, or are we just
nothing? I'm just opening.
Nothing. We're just sickos looking
at
just sickos
opening cards.
Looking to see how shiny the foil is.
That face.
Oh, I liked it when I drank it. I thought it was okay.
It tastes like an Oreo. It hits weird at first, but when it goes down, you're like, you know what?
It just tastes. It weirdly tastes like ground up cookies in a liquid drink that has no solids in it.
Yeah, it's so weird because it could be like, it's like Yoo-hoo.
It's interesting.
Yeah, carbonated Yoo-hoo. Not bad.
Is it zero sugar? Is that the only version they have? I've not seen a non-zero sugar version of the Oreo.
I think they realized that there's no ethical way to make
but it tastes like it reeks of sugar too. I don't know what it is.
Like, if we made this sugar-fied, there's no ethics in that.
Yeah, you'd put down a horse, so like it's not good.
Yeah. Okay, what do you got? You got Stellar Crown over there, right?
Let's do this. Stellar Crown. Cracking this sucker open. Let me turn off the blur.
Pack-a-day habit.
Blur. Oh, I have no blur going on. Okay, good.
Yeah, we can see Russo's Bioshock clear as day.
Yes, look at those, baby. All right, here we go. Oh,
value immediately went down.
Value is because I sniffed it. The boogie's on it. Okay.
Too close to your mouth.
We'll start with the regular cards first, right?
Because the
you don't even know how to open them, right?
No.
I know this is important.
So on the Stellar Crown, it's you got the back two cards are the code card and the energy, and the card before the energy will be your rare unless there's a super rare in it. Then it'll replace one of your.
We'll go the other way then.
Yeah, it'll replace one of your reverse hollows. So. Ooh.
Medicham, a fighting Pokemon. Okay, double smash. Look at this guy.
I can't tell what.
Ooh, a hand.
A root fossil.
Root fossil, baby. That's what I eat for dinner. Next is Froakie. I love me some Froakie.
The only water starter I've ever used.
Really? And then I got a Meditite. Wow, I got a couple of the evolutions. Okay, interesting. Next is Diancie.
Okay.
So
in
far,
every Halloween pack.
Yeah, right. Then I got Togedemaru.
Extremely cute creature.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna start getting some good cards here in a second here. Oh, Jirachi. I like Jirachi actually.
Yeah, it's so weird when you get these like weird mythical Pokemon. A common. There's the Mewtwo that's in this series is like just uncommon. It's just a normal ass card.
Ooh, Nimble. Look at this. Nice.
That's one of your reverse hollows.
Yeah.
That weird Nimble. Cricket guy.
Yeah, I catch it on Pokemon Go. Ponyta, one of my other favorites. I like the My Little Pony version of the Ponyta.
Yeah.
Like purple and white, bluish. Okay, now we're gonna get the good card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kofu, baby.
Hey,
check this out.
There's a potential. Those full art trainer cards or support cards, like that are specific characters, tend to do okay for them. Like,
okay, nice.
Because that's the special version of that card. That's
basic energy.
or that's fighting energy.
Yeah.
But so yeah,
Nice.
I mean, I don't know what
Cool.
the value of anything is, but that was actually probably an okay poll at the end there.
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't a waifu, unfortunately. That's where the
wasn't a
money is.
waifu.
those go for hundreds.
Yeah,
Those go for hundreds.
yeah.
Nice.
You might have gotten
Well,
like $3 or $4. You might have
yeah,
been able to
yeah.
pay for the pack with that card.
Well, next week we're gonna have a bunch of games that we're reviewing. JJ, I think, has like 50 games.
I do
You've got
not. I don't.
I'm looking at the list, and you have.
And there's 50 of them.
You got. Let's see here.
How many of these are codes that I've actually received? Because I've requested a lot, haven't gotten very many.
Well, yeah, you'll get Silent Hill 2 eventually.
Yeah, after I pay for it.
You got a running game that you're doing, actually.
Am I? What running game am I playing?
Death Sprint.
I never got that.
I sent it to you.
You're gonna have to resend it because I have nothing in my.
I believe I sent it via message.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I will. I'll get that over to you. And then.
And I know I have the VR thing that you just.
The VR thingy, mabobber. Yeah. And there's another little potential book that you could potentially look at too. Because you got.
Yeah, I actually have been looking at that. I don't consider that.
Yeah.
You were not supposed to.
I'm not supposed to talk about. No. There is a book thing that I'm going to another book thing that I'm going to send you that you can talk about. So, with that, you can find us at sidequesting.com. Find us in the Discord. That's where we love to hang out. SideQuesting TV and all the YouTubes and Twitches and all that kind of stuff. Find us individually. Just look in the Discord. That's where we are. That's where we hang out. Yeah. Once again, like, review, comment, reply, tell your grandmother, whatever. Just spread the word about sidequesting.com. JJ, Sam, thank you again for joining us on this wonderful, wonderful evening.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
giving us free video games.
Always welcome.
I kind of demanded to be on this show just because I hadn't been on for a while and I had stuff to talk about.
It's always nice.
Yes.
I treasure every Sam moment I get. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I treasure every JJ moment I get. Allie, take him or leave him. I don't know.
There you go. Okay, and with that, we'll see you in the next episode of the Side Quest.
Bye, friends. I'm waving.
Hello Kitty is waving.
Goodbye.
I should probably hit the
end stream
button instead of the leave.